All right, so Pluto right now is going over your Venus, Saturn, Mars. It's within a 10-degree orb of Venus, Saturn, Mars, and also Neptune. But most importantly, when Pluto is transiting something personal to you, like Venus and Mars, this is considered a Pluto initiation. So Pluto wants to tear away anything that stands between you, being your most powerful version of you. So right now, Pluto going over, this is a conjunction because it's within 10 degrees. Pluto's at 20, your Venus is at 23, and your Mars is at 16. So I would be looking at that right now, seeing how Pluto wants to take us into the underworld to retrieve power, the vital life force energy. Pluto wants you to become Pluto, your version of Pluto. So I would be looking at that a little bit right now. And then let's go ahead and talk about Saturn. So, what does Saturn want? With this set of instructions, I see Saturn placed perfectly between your inner feminine, the way you attract, your allure, the way that you draw things into you, and Mars, the way that you project your will out into the world, the way that you assert yourself. And look at Saturn right there in between them. So think about it literally. Like, to me, this is creating structure and form around your feminine and masculine energy. This could, bring Saturn to look like your central channel between, like the Pingala Nadi between the Shushumna Nadi between Ingala and Pita. You can think about it like that, like looking at this placement and getting that idea of like, okay, this is my center, is my structure and form. And then the masculine, feminine energy are situated on either side of that. So you can look at it literally and ask yourself questions based upon, what is this telling me? Saturn wants me to create structure and form, to be the authority of my life. Venus wants me to embrace my feminine essence, my allure, my attraction, my money. Mars wants me to assert myself, to assert my will out into the world. So you can go into a meditative state feeling into that just by the placements. Now look at this. The sixth house has to do with sacred work, brushing your teeth, going to sleep at a certain time, practicing your daily hygiene, because the sixth house is basically the sacred rhythms and timings of you, of the planet. It has to do with the ritual and the routines. And you can take it to just like your own body's ritual and routines. Think about your menstrual cycle, this thing that's sacred every single day. There's a different phase that's happening. You can take it to your yard and the cycles that your plants have, or you can take it out to the cosmos and the cycle that the planets have. It has to do with that every single day and every different moment of the day having a sacred timing essence to it, and you know paying attention to each of those details during the phase. That's what the sixth house represents. So a lot of people would just say sixth house, the imagery is like waking up in the morning, doing your oil pulling, brushing your teeth, drinking some warm water, going out for your run, practicing your meditation, cleaning up your place, getting ready for work, go do your work. It's like that. So with Saturn there in between the feminine and masculine, or between the energy going inward and energy going outward, if you think about Venus and Mars, just basic like that. Venus being the energy that goes this way, draws to you. Mars being the energy that has desire to go out. Venus desire to bring it in. Mars desire to bring it out. Saturn right in between there in the sixth house. So feeling into all of that and seeing what is it that Saturn wants from you. What does Saturn want of you? How is it that you're being the authority of your life? I wouldn't pay so much attention to the other planets here, Neptune, Uranus, the moon, personally, I would bring those into a different part of the discussion other than looking at what does Saturn want. But just for the sake of this sort of broad overview, Uranus is a planet of rapid change. I call this the change agent, what shifts the assemblage point, the way that you are a change agent and the way that your assemblage point is shifted and the way that you shift others. That's Uranus. And then Neptune is the dreamy, I was going to say violently, because sometimes Neptune relates to like a tsunami of imagination. And it can sometimes be a violent tsunami of imagination. Just because Neptune, that's what Neptune is. You know, it's that watery, it can be dreamy and it can also be violent. So bringing those two into the conversation kind of, it broadens the picture into, you could say that your inner authority is inclusive. It's including your dreams and your imagination, and it's including the shift of your assemblage point. Okay, so, and this is all in the sign of Capricorn. So all of it is in a way that mostly cares about structure and form, that mostly wants to grow corn to feed the next 7 generations. So when your Saturn return comes, it's a remembering of the original intention of what Saturn is in your life and the way that you are Saturn, the way that you express Saturn. This is like, we inform the mysteries as much as the mysteries inform us. So this set of instructions is a two-way communication. It's not like they're telling you what to do. It's like, we have this sort of blueprint of how to engage, and as we are making our mistakes and our choices and our different ways of trying and exploring and all of that, every single bit of energy that we put into what it is we're doing, it also informs the cosmic consciousness, the greater collective. And so this is constantly changing us, changing it, changing. It's just a big river that's going all over the place and constantly changing. So the next thing you wanted to know was about the nodes. So first of all, Mercury today is directly opposite your natal Mercury, and then Mars is conjunct your Mercury. Mars today is at 8, your Mercury is at 12. So they're within a 10-degree orb, and there's Mars and the South Node together touching your natal Mercury, and then Mercury in the sky is opposed to your natal Mercury. So today, really, really awesomely important is Mars is also retrograde. So this bringing like an extra aggressive assertiveness in general that I mean, it's been really interesting to see for myself and other people what they're saying about what they're experiencing with this Mars energy. But for you specifically, it's hitting the way that you think, the way you perceive. I would be interested in hearing about how your communication has been. Have you been hearing or receiving information in an assertive, aggressive way? Have you been giving it back out in an assertive or aggressive way? Or has there been any, excessive or noticeable assertive energy in communication for you, or expression in general? It doesn't just mean communication through speaking. It's like your movements, your physicality. Sometimes the way we move our body is a Mercury expression. So Mars is right on that. It seems like Mars is saying to you, like, hey, come on, like Mars wants us to get up and go and do something different, say something, be loud, be obnoxious. Not obnoxious necessarily, but like it doesn't care if it is obnoxious. It just wants to say it and do it and move it. And that's right on your Mercury right now. So the question you asked was about this nodal reversal. So the nodal reversal is basically like a checkpoint, like, hey, we'll get A nodal return every 18 years, about, not exactly, but about every 18 years. At the nodal return, this is the point where it's like a culmination of everything you've been studying, researching, learning about, everything that you has been creating you in your where you're going and where you've been. Everything that you've learned, every life experience, those are the past things, is getting you to some place. It's not like it's a real place, but it's like this culmination of things that you've learned that are bringing you into this new way of being, going north. So at the nodal return, that's where everything from your past comes to this point in time where the world gets it. The world gets you. They're like, oh, she's that girl who does Tantra and teaches people how to what to do with a penis, because we never were taught what to do with a penis. We don't know what to do with labia and clitoris. So this is the girl who knows how to do that. Where before it might have been like, oh my God, that's not Tantra. Like, you're being gross, or you shouldn't be calling it, whenever before it can be like this. And the nodal reversal time is like that. It's like you're being met with all this, what are you doing? And ew, and I don't understand, and all of that kind of thing. And then at the nodal return point, that's where everything sort of like opens up, and the world is like, oh yeah, that's what that is. And then you're the expert and you get super busy, and you've got your tools together and you're there in the moment doing what you're doing. Nodal reversal time, which is where you're at now, is a checkpoint. Like, hey, what are you doing? What is this about? And so you get a lot of self-doubt, questioning on yourself, people making comments to you, and you being like, oh shit, I don't really know what I'm doing. And it doesn't matter if you do that or not, because just don't stop. Just don't give up on what's moving through you, because there's an inspiration that drives you and gives you the desire to go study something new, learn something, try something new. Whatever that inspiration is, it's divine. And if you squash it with your mentality of like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing, this isn't good, people don't like this, that's the intentional talking, that's like saying stuff. Don't let it put out the inspiration. Don't let it put out the fire, because at the nodal return point, it will all make sense and you will have mastered it, because you kept with it and you kept going. So the next thing is, the sacred marriage. You asked about that, and I'll send you the book with this video. So I hope all that made sense. I don't know why I get so excited when I'm reading for you and I feel like I talk extra fast, but anyway, thank you so much. I love reading your chart and I look forward to connecting with you soon.